You are a person with free will. Nobody forces you to stay here. Feel easy to pack your bags and live this digital space. Hello people, my name is Alta. I'm gonna jump into this video super quick. Had many thoughts regarding what the fuck is going on in the world, and at some point I felt that Instagram maybe not the best platform to share that. Quick spoiler of certain areas and topics that I feel to cover today. I'd like to mention was like tidbits in today's narrative are things that are connected with infowars, spiritual wars. So we have things like energy, information, esoteric, a little bit of politics, propaganda, current economy, a lot of things that's going on. I would love to like put it all here in one thing, because I'm sure 100% there are many people who think about these things. Number two, 100% there are conversations about this, but probably they're in a more closer circles, etc. And Instagram also, generally the essence, the nature of Instagram, it's a platform that's built for super quick scrolling. We can look at reels, it's like super short format content, and then people are like, oh my god, my attention span is 15 seconds and I cannot fucking concentrate and focus. What are the consequences? I think of that, like, we all know, and I don't have to be the one that needs to elaborate further here. And YouTube, as I feel, is a platform where you can really take the space and time to articulate your thoughts. And I understood, me as a person, I do really enjoy silence and just like vacuum, and like this feeling of emptiness when there's like no talking or anything. And also I do really enjoy to have a good conversation and for people to exchange and have conversations with essence. So yeah, long story short, what I want to say, having nothing scripted usually is like things that occur in the moment, and I'm like, okay, Alta, you have like really a lot of things to share. Let's like, the energy came, let's like put it to the world. Because yeah, Instagram maybe not, okay, whatever, fuck this shit, let's go. I think you also have noticed that since 2020 till now, it's been a lot of certain things cooking up on a global level. And if to dig even deeper, for people, let's say for society, things may start from 2020. But anything that's political, anything that's politics related, on this global level, all of those operations or processes are always pre-planned. Things like certain revolutions or wars, or striking certain processes that may occur or create a certain reaction, or like waves of reaction from society. Those are, let's say, campaigns or things or processes, phenomena, phases, etc., that are always pre-planned. And in the big chain, society is always the last element that gets notified. Oh, by the way, that is this thing that we have been cooking up all of this time, and like now, and now you're taking, now you see, and now like, yeah, deal with that. So even when we think about like 2020, this thing started much earlier. And even if to dig deeper, which generally, even to start with this race to dig deeper, it's an interesting thing, because how currently in the world right now, when there's like so much information around us, and information does not mean knowledge, when there's so much information around us, how do we really make a research, especially with social media getting much more common, easy accessible, conditions being built that way that people's attention span and also focus is super low, super short, and many people are basically online, and their communication skills, their analytical skills, their critical thinking, etc., anything that's important and vital to be, let's say, grounded and understand who you are and what's going on and how you create your reality, and like, where are you, and like, what is happening. One moment, nose is itchy. You know what I'm talking about. I don't need to elaborate about that. Coming back to the research, I start to think about it because my close friend currently, she's doing PhD. And generally, even if you do not do PhD, or for example, you're doing BA, you're doing MA, bachelor, master's, like any kind of context, specifically in academic setting, it's an interesting playground that really challenges how we think and how we work with data and how we analyze and how we create and how we really make research. Because very often it's when now people have questions, you go to Google, you go to ChatGPT, maybe you search that in social media, and I also know many people can search something in TikTok. So yeah, and it also of course depends on what kind of question is that, because certain aspects and certain topics can be found quite easily without a quick touch point with that browser or that platform with that social media, whereas there are certain things where the depths you need to dive into requires much more than just Googling something and opening a first article that pops up and then like reading that and then the second article and then like, you know, making sure that, oh, I read this too. This is like the exact right information. That's all. I'm good to go. Considering the fact that like Google is owned by BlackRock. Number two, Google generally, again, everything is super tied to politics, and politics is super tied to esoterics. That's like a very big, juicy topic, because there is a layer of things we do see. For example, this material world. For example, there is like this bag, I can see it, I can touch it. I don't know, like clothes, you can see, you can touch it. Like this phone that I'm recording, you can like see, you can touch it. And there are also many things that are metaphysical, that are not physical, like they don't have a body or a shape yet that you cannot, you know, like take and touch it. But it doesn't mean that it does not exist, and it leads to two things, or it by default means two things. Number one, there are many things that people may not see, but it doesn't mean that they do not exist. Number two, there are many things that are super hidden from society, and I mean, and the earth as a playground to be all calm. I mean, it's a very interesting, no matter how you call it, a playground, a system, a simulation, a space, an environment where we get into and we go through and learn and study and explore and dive into who are we and ourselves through all of these different experiences, because it is a fact that everybody is basically a universe or God that learns about itself through us. Everything is created, how do you say it in English? There's like this particular phrase, everything is created in the image of God, or in the image of, let's say, the world, something like that, because English is like not my first language either, but I think people that are listening this currently, you can get my point. So yeah, back to the research thing. Even if we take Google, number one, Google is let's say it's a product. Behind every product there is certain somebody that created that. When you create something, you have a power to adjust how that thing works, which means that you can easily also hide certain information. For example, when people hide certain information or certain keywords, like no articles even pop up, or for example that the information that pops up is not relevant at all. So it's easy to control and hide information, or it's easy to hide and control knowledge, or hide knowledge. That's also the reason why, let's look at history. For many times, and centuries and times and centuries and times and centuries, all kinds of libraries with sacred books and database of sacred texts and knowledge. What's been done? Somebody at some point was doing their best to fucking put this place on fire, so there's like no access to this knowledge left. Because knowledge is power. Not information, but knowledge. If information has knowledge, then yes. If this information is empty, then it will just take space in your brain. That's also a very interesting point that like came out right now. One moment, let me write it down. So if the flow takes me back to this topic, I'll come back to this topic. And by the way, this video might be like quite long. I do not know. I think this video will be as long as my phone's capacity and like my phone storage has a place for the new video. Otherwise, yeah, it's like really a lot of things to unfold. So yeah, back again to topic of researching Google, because I've been talking about this, and then, you know, it's like a tree and there's like a lot of branches in which directions the topics can go. So same here. And yeah, you can hide information. Certain information cannot be revealed at all. And number 3, also Google as a browser. Basically, yeah, every browser. Actually, anybody can create a page, put some information there, copy paste, and then like just put there in the browser. And I think also there's like this interesting illusion that when we have a request or when we have a question, we go to media, we look it up. I mean, yeah, like the brain works that way, that you want to reach your goal with the minimum effort put in that. And how often actually the information that we see in media is really a fact. We take right now, you know, super simple examples such as health. You may have a certain concern, you go to Google, there's like so much information. What makes sense, what doesn't make sense. So this is also an interesting topic to shape and like to start a conversation about, you know, what is research, why, or how, not why, how we interact with data, what is knowledge, where we can find that, how we can learn, like, and how we can actually quality learn. Because another topic that's like not directly what I wanted like to go, it's like a bit right now, you know, like another branch, but it's also connected. For example, yeah, even if we take a topic of education, there is such a big battle between formal education makes sense or not, doesn't make sense, versus, yeah, like non-formal education, especially that right now, let's say the system, or like the metrics, or like, yeah, let's put it the system that we know, there's big escalation, a right word currently in this case, like there's like a big gap between the older system that has been existing for a while and newer ways of that are being facilitated, how reality can be created. There's like this gap between the worlds, and it brings up many questions. For example, how people have lived, how people live now, how people have worked, how people work now, how people have earned money before, how people can or earn money now, how people communicated before and how people communicate now. And generally, you know, in the era when there's like so much info trash, like let's put it the way it is, it's like literally info trash. It's interesting to see how people are being like in the bubbles. Yeah, okay, I understood that it doesn't make sense to make any structure in my narrative right here, because it's like a lot. And I mean, I said that before, like a spoiler, yo guys and girls, like amazing, charming creatures. It's a thought flow. It's like a lot of things. So I came here, I have things to express, and they hear, and you see, and you decide for yourself. Yeah. Things with bubbles, for example, generally, yeah, even if we do not take a phenomena of online, just like offline life, I mean, it makes sense because each of us has some things that we are drawn to naturally from the birth. Let's say, yeah, that's why it's super important to really learn yourself and learn how to connect with yourself, and learn and like, you know, build this relationship with yourself, with your soul, with your body, because those are trusted, reliable vectors and your friend that you can really rely on. Those are aspects that really make sense to invest yourself in, to understand that, to sense that, to see that, and to build relationship with that. And it's a lifelong journey. Everybody is in their own process here. Somebody just started, somebody has been here for a while. There is no thing as too fast or too slow, everything in its own time. Everybody is in their processes, and you just see whether somebody who's in the processes, whether they match and correlate and match their vibration or match their stage of life where you currently are and with your vision. And if yes, and if you both are into, it's super easy to connect and like dance together. And if you understand like nah, it's not relevant for me now, then like also nobody's forcing you, you know, like if it matches, if you want, come by, have a look, see how it is for you. And if no, then like feel free to go, or like feel free to do your other stuff. You are the person that has control over, I mean, you can control, you know, where's your attention, where do you put your energy, where do you put, where what you focus on, and what you focus on becomes bigger. So this is like your direct responsibility. Really learn those stuff about yourself: brains, consciousness, subconsciousness, energy, soul, spirit, body, really a lot of things. Everything is super intertwined. Once you understand how to navigate yourself, then you can also start and like learn how to navigate the space, because the space as an energetical structure is also very adaptable, and depending on how you tune in into your skills as a creator, which each of us have already, you know, because like we are all as a drop of water in the ocean. And when you, even when you're a drop of the water of the ocean, you're also an ocean. We are all made from the same thing, the sky, the earth, the earth, I don't know, like the sky, let's say, yeah, like the plants, the mountains, whatever we see here, we are all super intertwined. So yeah, planet earth is a playground. There's like much more layers happening here and outside of here, and many things are like are not shown to people, which kind of, if we dig deeper, makes sense what they're not shown to people, blah 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 blah. It's a playground where we come here, and by the end you have like a certain limited time, specifically in this body while you're here on earth. So really take your time to think about, you know, damn, what kind of experiences I want to gather here. What kind of experiences I want to gather here, and what kind of experiences I want to create here, what I want to give, what I want to experience, and what I would love to receive. Really take your time to think about that, because if you do not take time to think about your vision and what kind of lifestyle and what kind of life you want for yourself, and what kind of lifestyle, life, vision, goals, mission, what kind of, you know, like daily life, people surrounding, quality of life, you as a person, you as a creator, you as a man, as a human, as a woman, as a creator, like take any context that you find interesting for yourself. Really take time to build that, because if you do not take your time intentionally to think about that and build that, guess what? Somebody else will gonna decide that for you. If you do not take your time to think about, okay, what are the things that like I'm being pulled to, that I feel gravitated towards, to like where the roads are leading me and where I'm leading myself, then if you don't do that, if you don't put your attention and focus there, then somebody else gonna, you know, somebody else gonna make up ways how you can serve their dreams. And if that also correlates to your dreams, then it's super cool. You can take that experience also like to boost your own journey. But if you just, you know, like mindlessly don't go forward with the path that you shall walk, that's meant for you, that's meant for you to go and nourish and develop, specifically your path where your soul is calling you. If you don't stop there, sooner or later you're gonna face consequences of not hearing yourself. And it's much better when your own source, you know, of this there is a word, catalysator, I'm not sure how it is in English, when you own this like catalysis of your own changes, rather than, you know, waiting when things get so bad and like fucked up that like the whole world and like universe, higher forces, God, world, whatever, let's take a word, world here, that like, let's say, yeah, it's much better when you are this own source of like, okay, I woke up and I feel blah 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 and I choose myself to change or like to grow, blah blah blah, rather than waiting. Such a bad you know, combination of everything that like life has to force you by kicking your own ass. It's much better when you willingly, by yourself, with your own free will, choose to grow and choose the experiences that you are interested in encountering with and playing in, rather than waiting when the whole world needs to like fucking kick your ass so you fucking wake up. Yeah, back to the thing connected with what I said. Yeah, like games people play, and also general like spirituality, because what I see, it's also an interesting topic, because I mean, yeah, again, back to the topic of infowars. There's like many info trash and like blah blah blah, like blah blah blah, like blah 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 blah, like going on in the internet. So it also really takes fucking discernment, really see and sense what the fuck are you consuming. It's about information, it's about focus, it's about attention. It's online and it's offline, it's with people and it's with information, it's with everything. Really tune in your discernment and see what makes sense to interact with and what does not, because whatever you choose, it is your energy there. So really be fucking conscious about that and be aware of that, because the focus that you put into something, it's your energy. And your energy, when somebody called me, I think it's a call from Poland, okay, and the energy that you put into things is also your life force. And I think, one moment, let me do it like this, so I will have a look at it later. And life force, I think, this is something that people start to think about very late, only when, let's say, there is a phrase, I think, like I sent it to a friend yesterday, it's like not my phrase, and I don't remember it word by word, but it goes something like, a healthy man has like thousands of wishes, and like in not healthy man, like a sick man, has only one wish, like health. And at this moment, when somebody is, like between life and death, and when somebody is in the state which I hopefully does not happen, and like it's much better when, like for everybody, when you're in a healthy state, healthy body, healthy mind, you're in tune with your soul, like with all of your centers, energetically, mentally, physically, spiritually, on all levels, yeah, basically this life force, I think this is something, people start to think only when like they are burned out, they're super exhausted, they have led themselves to such environments or like circumstances where it's already so bad they cannot continue anymore the way that they were operating and like functioning and moving through life, especially when at some point, when health starts to become a cost of certain decisions that people or a person, like somebody, made. That's like a very critical situation some points, when like your body signals to you like, what the fuck, bro, like what the fuck is going on. And even if we dig deeper, like we have, let's say, we may have, let's say, several layers of bodies, if it sounds correct. Let's say we have physical body, but also, as said before, the world has not only material layer. So material layer, let's say, there's like material layer, like I can touch my skin, I can feel it, you can feel it, oh, you can see it, so yeah, you can feel it, you can see it. But also there are like many other layers before. I think there are also certain names for that. I think especially when you learn yoga, or when you start to learn about like energy field and certain psychic abilities and chakras, there are like certain names for that. I don't remember them word by word, because I just take the main information that I need and the main knowledge that I need. But long story short, everything before it manifests into an illness on a physical level, where your physical body can sense that is something that already has entered you on a more like thin energetical level. And when something there has been disrupted and like not paid attention to and not held, and if it's been there for such a long time, only then it gets like it gets manifested to like the physical body, when your body fucking like actually screams to like, hello, please pay attention to us, like we have a problem, like please help us. Your body always by default should be healthy. Like it is a must, it is a standard. And it's also crazy if we look at the society, and especially if we look at the Western medicine, where problems are treated not by cause but by consequences. Damn. big pharma thing. Yeah, like a lot of things that can be added here. So again, many things are intertwined. Make your own conclusions. Yeah. One moment, let me reset, because I just understood the call that came in from Poland. It was like for one confirmation, but let me reset my mind right now so I'm not present in that topic and I can get fully back to this moment here while I'm recording this speech memo. Yeah, I think like generally like there was like many topics and like and I said that and that and that. So I think like right now, I really think, you know, like I'm the kind of person that if I sit and, or like if I'm here and there's like a camera and I start talking, it's never about, you know, like a video on a certain topic, like certain topic 15 minutes now. It's gonna be like, it's like many things to elaborate. It's like many things that can be. So yeah, one moment. Oh yeah, if we talk about one moment, maybe let me check this bodies. Oh, I think like otherwise I can also put it later in the text description. But yeah, long story short, energy as a field, as a layer, it's much thinner than the material world. And the correlation of, you know, like energy, material world, we can take right now an example of health, and we can take right now an example of like manifesting or creating life with your own attention. Health, for example, when people are in certain situations, there's also actually a very interesting thing called like psychosomatics. Probably some of you have heard about it. It's when, let's say, people think often, oh, I have, I don't know, like pain in the head or like in stomach. And then they go to Western doctors, and then Western doctors prescribe them, like, I don't know, medicine. Instead of digging deeper, what is actually the cause of that? But, you know, and there are really many, and a lot of things that can be causes of certain things. Many of them can be on a mental level, and many of them can be on energetical level. There are like really many things that can be possible. There are so many cases, and in some cases the root of the problem may be not even something that you may solve with traditional tools, and there are certain areas where a complex holistic approach may be and can be very handy. One moment, let me search info about the bodies. The bodies. Energetic bodies refer to subtle non-physical energy systems believed to exist alongside our physical bodies in various spiritual and holistic traditions, encompassing concepts like the aura, chakras, and meridians that are sought to store and circulate life force energy, or prana. Yo, swag. So yeah, there are like many teachings that like work both with body and the energy. I think if you're interested, you can come up into that. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, if you're interested, you can have a look at it further by yourself. But again, here I think any kind of information, let's say, yeah, which is like considered to be like more aka spiritual, metaphysical, esoterical, philosophical, etc., I think it's very important to understand. Damn, there is a fly here. It's so important to understand that we still live on Earth. And Earth is a material space, which means that all these knowledges that you may gather about, you know, it doesn't matter what is that, whether it's like energy connected or like manifesting connected, or things like, I don't know, tools like marketing or business or financial how do you say it in English? Financial literacy. Yo, one moment. Financial, yeah, okay. This word, whatever I meant, I think you got it. Literacy. Yeah, I think like in English it's called literacy. And many other things, for example, food. How do we grow it? What are the macro, micro, all of this nutritions and things, and like fabrics we wear, etc. There's like many things, like many things that like could be talked about, and just like a lot of things. But to sum this up, not the whole video, only to sum up this thought, and just important to understand that no matter, I do not know why I feel so heavy right now, but I feel okay, one moment. Main thing of this, you know, understand that the world we live in, it has so many layers. Some are seen and some are unseen, but the gems barely lay on the surface. Some things, you know, actually can lay on the surface, but there is certain tidbits that I mean, in this world we will live in, you know, literally anything is possible. This life, the essence of this life, is much broader than any possible scenario that your mind can even construct. And the thing is, this limitless nature, this expanding essence that life is also what you are, and it's also what you are made of. But people forget about it, and people forgot about it. Before you came to this earth, you already knew and saw everything. Let's say, yeah, like your soul, your spirit. And the moment when you come to earth, because it's a very material layer, you get into your body. Our body is like, you know, like this physical part. It's like a machines that help us carry around from one place to another while we're here. Because when you are on earth and if you don't have a body, then you're called a ghost or a spirit. Basically, you still have this essence, but you don't have a body, so like other people cannot see you. It doesn't have a shape. Body is what gives you a shape when you move in this world. People are made in the image of God, and when I say God, I do not mean God in a religious context. Because the way how people made up religion or created religion or traktowать, how is it in English? Or the way how people spread religion or understand that very often, I don't say that always, but that's very often, it's very far from the essence, let's put it like this. All sacred texts, no matter whether they have a connection to religion or no, or whether they have a connection more to like any kind of teaching or philosophy, and they all have several, let's say, these tidbits that are very essential and important, but it really takes, on one hand, a very open, flexible mind, yet on the same at the same time, this deep feeling of discernment, like this divine gift to sense and to see through, I would say, to see through whether what's written and whether it makes sense for you or not. I understood what I want to say. Many people interpret not correctly the senses and the words that are written in sacred texts, and layering on top of that, we live in the world where there is always a constant battle of forces. Let's say, like the dark and the light, the evil and not the evil. There is a constant battle of forces which fights for people, because we on this earth, it's like, each person is like it's a very big resource. When you think of a food chain, you think, for example, oh, there's a grass, then a rabbit can eat the grass, and then, for example, another bigger animal can eat the rabbit, and then person can eat that animal. But we actually are not a final element in this food chain. There are also certain organizations, entities, and other certain things that can also be fed, and they can also can feed off from the person, and what the human can give to those structures and to those creatures and to those entities is your energy. Everything in this life is energy, so your life force is key, and that's why the main currency currently is not even money, but is attention, because you focus and your attention is what can generate any resources. And also, even if we talk about money, why in English it's called income, because it's in. When you understand that you are a creator of your reality, that the center of your reality comes within you, you understand, and you start to understand and see that everything around you has been created by you, whether right now with your early choices, or maybe even with your early choices, even if you don't remember about them before you even came here. Our parents, our soul chose that. And even if we talk right now about things like a more grounded, let's say, why are you in a certain situation right now like this? Whether it's like vision, mission, quality of life, lifestyle, community, friends, people, experiences, events, finances, certain goals, certain, how do you call it? I need a I understood for this word. I need a translator. I'm not sure if it's called, ambition, but one moment, let me have a look. I need to connect with Wi-Fi, you know, while I'm talking right now. It's also an interesting thing. You know, people are walking and living here every day and they do not think about what are the things around us, because what is Wi-Fi? Because if you think that the human mind created that, it was not the human minds that created that. When you walk here in this life and then you look up to the sky, what is really the sky? What is really the sky, and is there something behind the sky? Are we just, you know, like this kind of like that we are let me translate some words to English. Yeah, for example, is the sky is actually a dome, and what if something else exists outside of that, or somebody else exists outside of that? And back to what I said, there was a word that I was searching. It's called scale. Yeah, it was a thought that the moment when you understand that you are a root of everything that you are currently experiencing in your life, that you yourself are the source and that root that has created all that yourself. When you understand how powerful you are as a creature, you'll see that number one, if you yourself, with your thoughts and your decisions earlier, created the circumstances where you are right now, and if you find yourself not fulfilled with what you see, anything we do not change, we choose. So if you do not like what you see currently, you can always change it. You can literally wake up and you decide, okay, who I used to be, or the patterns that I used to carry, the way how I was thinking and the kind of actions that I was doing, I don't want it anymore. I don't see it anymore as my reality. This is not something that I want to keep carrying and recreating anymore, because this is not the outcome that I want, that I see for myself. And we can wake up and decide to do things in a different way. And you don't have to wait for a special occasion. You don't need to wait for a Monday. You don't need to wait for a New Year. You don't need to wait for your birthday. You don't need to wait till such a tragedy happens that it kicks you so painfully and so drastically that you understand only by that point that, like, damn, now it's time for me to wake up. You can also do that just voluntarily. The moments when you understand and you realize for yourself, okay, damn, this like not how things can be kept going. Yeah, it's I need to change this, and like I'm capable. Yeah, back to the thing, yeah, that like people are not the last element in the food chain. Like in this world, everything's super intertwined. Let's say, yeah, when there are certain structures, let's put it like this, certain energetical structures that can also, you know, feed from you. What do you feed with your attention? What do you feed with your focus? Information that you consume. You know, for example, any kind of ideology, any kind of idea, it starts to have power when it's accumulated by people's energy. The more people believe in that, the more people stand by that, the bigger it grows. Same example, you take a phone and you charge that, it's charged. Ideology, ideas are charged by people. If there is an idea but nobody believes in it, there is no force to feed that idea with. And from that, once you understand that basically anything is built on that, and it can be, you know, used in many ways. For example, political propagandas, an example of that. Building communities is also part of that. Building projects on certain spaces, which resonates to or with people. It's also an example of that. Spreading certain fears or bubbles or separating people or uniting people, it's also a part of that. And I think, now while I'm recording this, like at some point I've been like looking at my eyes, and it's very interesting. It's very interesting. It's very interesting to see how many things you can see in the eyes of somebody. The world we live in, it's super multi-layered, and many things here are hidden from your eyes, or they're just like not exposed. They're not, they're not presented. And it's a very interesting, beautiful human journey. I find how people, each on their own way of reconnecting with their true essence and with who they really are. Because the system that we live in, understand school system, the way how it's built to how to work for a system that already exists. The good part that you can get, let's say, from education, let's say, you would take like unis, BA, MA, like academies, is critical thinking when you do your research. That skill can be very, 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 very vital and handy. But for example, when people think linearly, which is like most of the people, what is linear mindset? It's very Western way of thinking. It's a way of thinking that says like, if you want to reach like say 40, then you need to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 till 50, till 40, till the number that you want. But the thing is, the world itself that we live in, it's super unlinear. You can do 1, 2, 3, then you can jump to 7, then you can jump to 14, then you can jump back to 8, and then you can like quantum leap to 35. World is very unlinear. This is also what we're seeing in this like gap between the older world and like the older structures of how things have been here in the system, in this matrix for a while, and like with this like newer constructions that are being built in the process. Let's look. I think I've already said that in this video, so some of the information or like some of the things that I'm talking about right now may be a little bit repeating themselves, because I'm also not know yet if I would love to post this video as a whole piece, because it's like a lot of talking, or if I would love to divide it into like 2 parts. So we'll have a look. Yeah, I remembered what I wanted to say back then, but back then was like too many things to say. Especially in the era of social media, the phenomena of bubbles is getting like much bigger. Basically, what you see in social media really often is it's a reflection. It's a reflection of your interest. So let's say somebody's feed can be like only like DIY, can be, I don't know, let's say a vegan cooking, I don't know, Pilates something, matcha cup something, AirPods alala something, I don't know, clothes hashtag core something. For somebody's feed, it's gonna be motorcycles, football, tennis, skating, something else. Somebody will be in another bubble. But basically, online space, we have like this offline world, and then we have like this inner world within you that starts everything. And then layered on those two, we also have an online world right now, in which people are also engaging. But of course, as a creature with free will, you can decide for yourself if this is something you would like to engage with or no. And if yes, then like in what capacity, in what forms it makes sense for you. It's up to you to decide. And there is something that I wanted to say about this phenomena of digital bubbles, but I think I forgot about it. I think I started the side and then I forgot about it, but I feel if everybody is in their own bubble, and it's like, one big world, but everybody is living in their own reality, which is a fact. That's why, it's also very interesting why intuition and discernment are so important. Each of us, we're also constructed from really different pieces, and by pieces I do not mean like cultural codes, ethnicity, background, a way of how we were raised up, etc. Energetically, we can be very different because, let's say, yeah, before the earth has been shaped in the way we know about it now, and also, yeah, it's a really good, great question. What we know about the earth, or what is the information that was given to people to be able to know about earth? My sound. Interesting. Because very often we also, even if we take history, do we really know history? Or can we only know the pieces of history that people are allowed to know? So it's like more safe. Because it's quite easy to erase something in history. We don't even need to go too far, like several centuries ago. Let's take current things that are happening in the, let's call it, yeah, playground Earth. An article we do not want, erased. This information is not beneficial for us, erased. Oh, this question may be tricky to erased, deleted, hidden, as nothing happened, as if that even didn't exist. And also, you know, what happens with so many processes on the global level and also on individual level that people are in, because if you want to build your life, you need to also focus on yourself, on your center, because this is the center from which everything happens and from which you create everything. And so many things currently going in the world, so like that, let's be honest, what becomes in use today, tomorrow it becomes yesterday. The news that become today, tomorrow it becomes yesterday. And this is something I realized super early when, and I paid attention to this when, so I'm from Ukraine, 2022, February 24th, like people wake up around, yeah, like 5 a.m, super like big explosion, and then it turns out, okay, it's war, like it's the Russian-Ukrainian invasion. It's also very interesting in terms of, one moment, what did I say before? What did I say before? What did I just say 5 seconds ago? I forgot about it. One moment. Shall I re-listen to this video then? Yeah, I re-listened to what I've been just like talking about, and basically, yeah, like we do not even need to go too far in the history to see examples of information being erased. Even now, certain wars or conflicts or phenomena are being pushed very actively in the global media. But some things, even though they actually may occur and they are occurring and they're taking place in this offline world, somehow there is like no exposure of that at all in the media. Why so? So yeah, this moment of media. What else? I think I've been, you know, like talking about so many things, and I have a feeling, yeah, maybe it would make sense, you know, just like to take and like, you know, sort all of this out into like different topics. But as said earlier, not myself sorting those things into topics. That topic will lead to another topic. That topic will lead to another topic. That topic will lead to another topic, because everything in this world is intertwined. Some things are happening, not everything is exposed, not everything is shared, and even if it's shared, it may not be shared in the way that it actually is. Because news that we as society get, again, yeah, the last chain in this process is also the media and information that has, you know, gone through several layers of filtration, and only then people get that media. And yeah, coming back to this essential skill and ability to read through lines. Is it something that can be facilitated when people's mind and focus is constantly on scrolling and on seeing, okay, what's the new trend? What's the new trend? What's the new trend? Probably no. So it's a very interesting times that we are in terms of balancing of all of this, balancing this, balancing offline, balancing everything, balancing, you know, like what makes sense for you, because the world has had crazy stuff going on at all the times, not even now, also before. And you know, it's same things, they recur again and again. Same things, it's just different tools, different decorations, but like the main thing is like the same. So you know, like there's interesting dance and balance between actually understanding what really matters and like putting your focus there, and at the same time understanding whether certain things or phenomena that happen in the world, whether do they make sense for you to be aware of them, or to be at least, you know, in the context of what's going on or no. It's also like decision of each person, and there's like no thing here such as bad or good. Yeah, so many moments have been covered today. Crazy. And you know, the thing is, like, I just looked at the duration of this video. It's literally like it's almost 1 hour. It's like 53 minutes. And I understood like what I talked about, like actually almost like nothing, because each of this topic, if you take it and you elaborate and you unfold it more, it can like take more and more times. Also, what I want to say about this, yeah, when I was like flowing in the thoughts right now, I also understood this actually could be a whole, you know, separate topic about like the spirituality and a lot of like info trash. Yeah, I would put it the way it is. Usually when there is like big chunks of information at some point, yeah, they're being spread in the media, there's always a reason why. Because for example, why esoterics and all of these things, metaphysical, have been a very big, if not taboo, then like a hidden topic. And then why right now like this thing, yeah, it's getting more spread, and also why a term as esoterics is even getting, you know, more, not to say legalized, but to say more included on a governmental level, even if we talk about, you know, like say certain studies on that part, or just like people shaping and like building and registering themselves, you know, using that label, using that name like as their occupation. It's very interesting. Same, for example, yeah, with films, when people shoot films on a certain topic, and we need to understand also what you see in films, what you see in films, what you read in books, non-fiction books, especially different kinds of mythology, different kind of tales. This is not just like random stuff that people made up. A lot of those things, if not everything, actually does exist. Later on, when people make movies, they just like, they may get twisted, and they may twist it or tweak it in a bit different way. But very often what people think as an entertainment is actually more than just an entertainment. And again, it's sad, there's so many layers in this world. Many may be found and many are hidden from people at all. And the world we live in, you know, it's like a constant loop between, not between, but like this thing, yeah, this phenomena, timeless phenomena. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create great or easy times. Great or easy times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and then this loop continues. So yeah, as a certain loop that we are in, and yeah, you gotta tune in with your discernment. You gotta build a relationship with yourself, with your body, with your soul, with your spirit. Understand how your consciousness works, understand how your energy works, understand subconsciousness, understand how reality works, and like how you can navigate yourself, how you can navigate the space, so you can manifest this correlation between physical actions that we can do to call in the desired outcomes faster, and also certain things that we can do on an energetical mental level, so we do not build any barriers ourselves with our hands and with our minds, like in terms of, yeah, like what is this thing that you envision for yourself. It's very many topics, very interesting journey that we are in. And I understood like now it's a crazy world that we live in, and you know, it just shows what I thought before, like 1 hour. Like I recorded literally this thing for 1 hour, and it's not enough, because like so many things that can be said, and you know, not just like words for the sake of words, but things that it's good when people realize that and understand that, because you can unlock, and it is possible, to live the life beyond the system that you may have been used to, that you may have seen, and since the days that you come here. And what I mean beyond the system, we're still here, so we are already in the system. This thing called, you know, like, fuck the matrix, break the matrix, etc. You know, two important moments. Number one, you're gonna be the matrix anyway, because it's just like a system. Like the earth is already that system. And number two, the matrix that very often people refer to and that people talk about, actually this is not as much, and that's, or let's say, put it like this, that's not only this like external something, that's also here. Like the main matrix that you face in the first place is yourself. And as one amazing woman once told me, you know, matrix is not something to fight against, understand it. And then I'm gonna end my part. Understand the rules to understand where you can. And when you have a vision, take your time to think about your vision. Understand what you want to build, what things are you gravitated towards to, and matrix or the system, or however you call it, it can help you to build your own structure in this reality. The more you focus on things that really matter, the more flourishing the outcomes and the process will be. So yeah, where attention flows, that becomes bigger. So main thought for today.